Hello, everybody, and welcome to Live at the Waterhole. My name is Taylor McCurdy, and I'm going to be your host for the next 2 hours and 15 minutes. So get excited for a day filled with rain. If this is your first time watching the Waterhole show, welcome. It's great to have you here. Like I said, it's live and interactive, so it's happening right now. And if you'd like to chat to me, you can either comment on the YouTube stream for a short period only, or you can head over to the Wild Earth website and look out for the questions tab there and send the questions on. I cannot wait to see what wonderful drenched creatures we might find in this weather, as it just has not stopped raining since quite late last night. We are all thankful for it, so I can't complain. If you're wondering what that tip tap sound is, that's just the rain falling on the camera itself, because right now we're at Juma Private Game Reserve, actually where I'm sitting. I'm sitting in my room because I was out on the sunrise safari this morning. There was no sunrise. It was the sun-soaked safari. They made an error in what they called the show. So I know how damp these impala must be. Although it's nice to see them out because they were hiding away. I would have quite happily sat with a herd of impala with lots of young lambs. But alas, I had nothing. I just had some birds out on drive. But I'll wait for a couple of you to join and say hello, tell me where you're from, what you're hoping to see on the Waterhole cameras, or maybe what your favorite food is. I don't really mind. Well, there we go. Two of you have already joined in, Layla and Canadian. That's such a great name. Hello to the two of you. Thank you for jumping on board and saying hello. You're the first two to greet me. So, Impala, not having a drink of water, but on this embankment, so where those Impala are standing, that's actually the dam wall. And there's a lot of lovely lush green grass coming through, and it doesn't get grazed very often. Not many animals really want to feed on a steep embankment like that, with water below and a sheer drop on the other side. I feel quite vulnerable. And I always find that little impala lambs always have an extra spring in their step. They kind of over exaggerate the way that they react. I don't think they have any control though. They sort of just go, okay, right, legs one, two, three, jump, and then you know, there's no telling how high they might go. There's still one or two impala ewes that look like they are going to give birth. This is not the end of lambing season just yet. Oh, Louis Tonkin, you said g'day from Australia. You're waiting for a leopard to snatch a baby impala. Oh, Louis, or is it Lewis? I'm not sure. One of the two, either Lewis or Louis. I'm gonna go with Louis. That would be quite something. We know that there's leopards somewhere on Juma. Myself and Jamie, who are holding the fort for the morning and afternoon safaris, we've not had any luck. There is a pride of lions lurking about. Jamie had their tracks coming in today, so they could come round. But let me throw something else your way, Louis. I think maybe a pack of wild dogs will come charging past. I don't know. I'm just putting these positive feelers back out there because I didn't spend that much time in the rain looking for wild dogs. I was given some invaluable insight as to where the Mbali pack had been, and I went to check, and I just saw their tracks. But it had been raining so much I couldn't see where they went. The road that I think that they crossed, unfortunately, is hard, so it didn't really hold their tracks for a very long time. The water just washed them away. But it's not too far from where Gari Dam is. Maybe a couple of 100 meters or so. Maybe about a kilometer. But still, for a wild dog to travel that distance, it will go pretty quickly. Oh, Yellow Duck, you said the pattering of the rain is so soothing. It's like ASMR. Well, I'll keep quiet then, just for a little bit so you can enjoy it. Isn't that beautiful? With the woodland kingfishers. And now you can really hear the pitter patter of the rain. And the ringneck dove, of course. Ah, beautiful. But anyways, we can see that it is raining here in the Sabi Sand Game Reserve in South Africa. But let's go check out what the weather's going to be like at the rest of the waterhole locations. There's just rain everywhere. Everywhere. Oh my goodness, we're now at Okokuyo, which is in Namibia. And the last time that I visited this waterhole, there was nothing around it. It was just a little grebe and a couple of pied crows. That was it. I was shocked. I never thought that there would be a day where there would not even be one springbuck around the water's edge. But it came sooner than I thought. Anyways, I'm glad that there's life here now, and it's actually kind of weird to be looking outside and seeing the pouring rain. The birds are chirping, the frogs are happy, and then seeing the sunshine at Okokuyo. Huh. Anyways, and if you are wondering who are those people that are talking, they are actually at the lodge and they're enjoying themselves, watching all these animals, just living their best lives with the wildlife. So we'll just ignore them. I always try to put my ear really close to the speaker so that I can hear what they're saying, but I can never really make out what they're saying. And in the springbuck, go straight into the water. Oh goodness, this female looks very pregnant. Look at how her belly's just about touching the water. Oh, here we go. Here's a question. Tara, you said, would you advise some against going on safari during rainy season? No, absolutely not. It's so much fun. I mean, we don't melt in the rain. And these days, camera equipment is amazing. So it's got, it's dust resistant and water resistant. Like, we're not going to stick your camera underneath a waterfall. And if you're going on a safari to not necessarily a high-end lodge, but higher end lodges. Typically, the middle seat is there will be a box of some kind, like a storage container. So you might be able to pop a camera in there. You get beautiful ponchos. Nothing's waterproof, 100% waterproof, but you get what I mean. So no, I wouldn't advise against it. I think it's a lot of fun and it's a completely different opportunity to view wildlife. We go in dry season, yes, the bush is not as dense, so it's easier to see wildlife. That's not always the case, though. However, in green season, or for our summers, you get all the migratory birds that have arrived from wherever they might have been, some in the northern hemisphere and others just intra African migrants. So that's great. A burst of life with insects, lots of flowers and greenery. And of course, when the rain comes, again in southern Africa, so do the baby animals, especially of the herbivore kind. So I love it. I really enjoy it. It's going to be amazing when we see lots of little springbuck running around. They're so small.
Fancy playing safari snaps? Or showing off your photo skills in fun competitions? How about sneak peeks of our brand new camera spots and live chats with fellow Africam fans? Well, Africam All Access has got your back. Just head to Africam's YouTube channel, hit the join button, and select Africam All Access. You'll unlock Africam premium website perks and all the VIP benefits of our YouTube memberships.
More and more animals just coming in. So many wildebeest. and I saw, and let's just quickly find it again on the YouTube chat. There is a question from Simo S. She said, "Is there any risk of crocodiles in this habitat?" Thankfully for the herbivores that we're seeing, the answer is no. So this very arid environment is not suitable for crocodiles. For crocodiles, they're very much real, and something you wouldn't want your children to play with. I don't know why I said that. So no, they don't occur here. There's just not enough water about for them all year round, and you can imagine for a crocodile, if it were to get, say, stuck in a drought period and there was just no rain, there was nothing, and everything dried up, they'd find themselves in a bit of a, not even a sticky situation, but you get what I mean. So that's why all the animals are quite comfortable with going right into the water without hesitation. But this is just a learned behavior that's been happening for an exceptionally long period of time. If we go over to at some point again to the Juma camera or one of the other water holes, you might not see the animals wanting to go inside, especially like a springbok or wildebeest or kudu or gemsbok or whatever it might be. But here at Okukuyo in Namibia, they don't have anything to worry about. Well, at least not any large reptilian creatures that would want to eat them. Diane, you're hoping to see a baby hippo. Okay, maybe. I don't. There was one hippo in Juma Dam, Gari Dam earlier, but there was no babies. So I don't know if we're going to be able to see a baby hippo, but who knows? And then Sarah from the UK, you said, Taylor, they are making you work this morning. And you hope that I've had time for breakfast. Oh, don't you worry. We finished the sunrise safari at 8 a.m. And I got back to camp before the show finished because we were just drenched. Everything was wet. So with the next like severe downpour coming, Paul and I, who's on camera with me, we just said, we actually can't risk the equipment being out here for any longer. And Jamie was thankfully in the tent, and Andrew was down at Amakala. So between the two of them, they were able to hold it together for the last 10 minutes, and then we raced home. I launched myself into the shower because obviously it was a bit cold, and I'm now comfortably sitting in tracksuit pants and a nice warm jersey. It's so great. And we had pancakes for breakfast. We were all very happy. But when you are working in the safari realm, people and guides are notoriously banned. We inhale food because you have to constantly just chat, chat, chat. Your guests, you're creating conversation, then you forget to eat. And waiters and waitresses will happily come around and take your plate if you're not finished. So you just it all in one go. So we all had pancakes. It was great. So thank you very much. You never have to worry about me not getting food. There's a will, there's a way. And then, Wally, you've also said that you didn't expect me here today. I know, because normally I do the Waterhole show from home in between my other work, when I'm not tanning or walking my dog. No, I'm just joking. Uh, but I just thought, my goodness, we're so lucky in summer. Summer is everyone's favorite time of the year because there's so many hours between game drives. So I'll quickly run through the daily schedule at a normal safari lodge. So typically you're up nice and early, go out on activity with your guests, you come back, you have a brunch, because it's not quite breakfast, or maybe in summer breakfast, but anyways, and then sometimes your guests will want to go for a walk during the middle of the day. It's normally a short walk, an hour and a half, maybe at a push 2 hours. Very hot to do that in summer though. 10 out of 10 don't recommend. Substitute one of your game drives, stay a day longer, and go for a full 3 4 hour walk. It's such a better way to experience being out on foot in a big five area. And then you'll come back, probably have a siesta. If guides can sneak one in if there's no bush clearing or guests to pick up from airstrips or dropping guests off. And then it's straight back into the afternoon drive, and normally would sit dinner, and then anyway. So, but for us at WildEarth, we've got hours in between activities. There's so much time to do everything. So I've already read 10 pages of my book. I've done some work. It's Saturday. I should not be doing other work, but I can't help myself. And what else? Showered, obviously. I mean, amazing. I was going to do a workout. So I might still do that after the show, but we'll see. I can do all sorts of things. And then Jono, you said, how do you keep your spirit up on such a gloomy day? You're not in the greatest mood. Well, Jono, I think there's something about. No, I can't say that I'm getting Trick in trouble, but I know you probably take it quite well, but I won't, just in case somebody else says I'm being ugly. Um, I don't know, for the most part, I think I am like this. I do get annoyed really quickly. Like, don't let my chirpiness fool you. Um, I don't mind the rain so much. I mean, I'm sitting here, I was listening to all the frogs because they were going crazy. At some point, if the frogs do start calling again, what I'll do is I'll quickly sneak outside with my computer, and then you can all listen to the sounds that I'm listening to. It's going to be very different from what we're viewing and hearing at Okukuyo in Namibia, because just once again, if you don't know, I'm actually sitting in the Sabi Sand Game Reserve. And or we'll probably do that when we've got the Juma camera up and running. And there were some great frogs that I hadn't identified by call before, and I was like, "Oh, hey!" So that was good. That actually made me quite happy. And then there's so many questions today. Thank you so much. I'm so happy because obviously it's quiet on the wildlife front. Oh, Layla, I'm just quickly going back onto Juma. You said, did I see those giant African land snails this morning? Jamie had them and they were mating. So I did, and I'd also never seen it before. And I actually went and sat behind Jamie and listened to her for a while and watched them. It was great. I would have loved to have photographed them, but I thought let me not go in and throw Jamie off. But yeah, that was quite special to see. I've never seen African land snails mating before. So what a sight, and I'm so glad you all got to enjoy it too. And yellow duck, you said, when I have long stints away from my base, how do I deal with being away from my dog, Tucker, family, and friends? I'm actually so used to it now. Yellow duck, it's been my life for the better part of 11 years, going on 12 years now. So I don't know any different. I it's so strange to see family and friends like all the time. Um, not strange in a bad way. It's I'm just used to being away, then only being back for a short period of time. My life is a little bit different now. I don't work all the time, and I'm not away as often. I now go away for shorter periods, so I don't work 6 week cycles anymore, and that's a killer for a lot of people. It's one thing being away for 2 weeks, right? Manageable. But when you're guiding at lodges, or for even example, just working for Wild Earth, you typically work a much longer cycle, and this is the industry norm. And I can't do that because I have a dog anymore. And I made that lifestyle change in 2021, towards the end of the year, when I said, right, I'm getting a dog. The perfect dog has, become available, and it was meant to be. And then in January, I finished up working for eco training, and I said, for as long as I can, I'm going to try and not work for a company where I have to work for long periods of time. And I've kind of managed to make that work. So it is nice to have a base, to be able to just go to impromptu things, not having to plan ahead. People can be like, oh, hey, Taylor, what you doing? Should we go for tonight? Do you want to go for a park run? Yes, I'm here. So it's you make it work. You really do make it work. The animals are just like, Taylor, you've not said one thing about us. This is the Waterhole show, not the Taylor show. Sorry, everyone else that doesn't know me. I just like to chat. And I love it that all of you chat to me and ask these questions. I enjoy discussing them. Everyone's huddled underneath the leadwood tree on the left. I actually completely forgot to look at the temperature at Okukuyo in Etosha. It looks warm. Shall I guess? And then Tadiwa, who's directing, is going to tell me how wrong I am. Is it 31 degrees Celsius? Because that would warrant the animals standing in the shade. Otherwise, they're used to much hotter temperatures and they need to get back out there and acclimatize. Not just joking. Oh, and it's Sarah from UK. I love that you're all so concerned about my dog. Thank you. I think he's got a bigger fan base than I do, which I'm also okay with. People, literally, I walk down the street, if I take him around in town, and people come up to me and they go, "Oh, is that Tucker? Can I touch him?" And I'm like, hi, I'm Taylor. It's really nice to meet you. Yes, please pat my dog. Can you take a photo of your dog and I? And I'm like, yeah. Wipe the tears from my eyes and then go, yeah, sure, no problem. Um, oh, it's 37 degrees Celsius. I was so wrong. Okay, never mind. All the
Family is one of nature's masterpieces. Come along and embrace it with the WildEarth family. Our expert naturalists will spend the day tracking and spotting the families of the safari and explain family dynamics in the wild. The memories we make with our family are everything. WildEarth, it's in your nature.
it's just a never-ending stream of wildlife. I wonder why the wildebeest are only associating on the right-hand side of the waterhole. I'm not sure what kind of dispute is going on amongst these other wild animals. No, I'm just teasing. There's probably nothing about it, and it's just all a coincidence because, in fact, they'll just drink from any side of the waterhole that they want. I suppose if a group that's moving together goes to one point, they'll probably just drink from there. But if there's not enough space, well, thankfully, there's plenty of places to choose at this particular waterhole. And then I did see a question from Justin Wright about what are the odds of seeing a black rhino at Okokuya. I'm still waiting. I am still waiting for this moment. And if we pan a little bit to the right, just below where the wildebeest are, you'll see that there's some discoloration. On the ground, you can see there's quite a bit of dung there. There's a delay in this camera, so eventually we'll get round there. And that's where a black rhino dung midden is. So we know that they're here. They are seen more frequently at nighttime. And if you're wondering, Taylor, don't talk about rhinos. People can see them. Are they going to get poached? They're not going to get poached. Not from watching them on a TV screen. There's security procedures in place. And trust me, poachers, if they really want to take something, they're going to take it. There are a lot of informants and, well, informants, I don't know, allies for the poachers could listen in. They could have access to radios that reserves and things like that are using. And let's not forget that most of these places advertise that you can have a chance of seeing a rhino. So we can see them here. And this is a live waterhole camera. People can watch them here all the time. Plus, David Attenborough filmed an amazing documentary about these black rhinos. Just saying. But anyways, here's a dung midden. Look at all that dung. So you can see the lighter colored stuff that's older, and the dark coloration is more fresh, and it's been kicked open quite a bit. So, and this communal dung midden has been used for an exceptionally long time. I have no idea. Probably forever since this waterhole has existed. So they do come here. But for a black rhino to just randomly be out in the open during the day, not unheard of, but they're also going to need to feed. So they'll be spending more time in the denser vegetation, browsing, and once it cools down, it makes more sense for them to come out and then to drink water. They'll be quite exposed. Although I'm waiting for the day that we're going to arrive at Okokuya Waterhole. There's going to be a black rhino just enjoying the water. Just sitting there. I've had some great sightings of black rhinos in the Eastern Cape where you come around the corner and there's like a really big mud wallow, but it's quite secluded. And the black rhino just sitting in there going like, oh no, I've been busted. Anyways, and off they would go. So yeah, so we have got a good chance. I think if you speak to some of the viewers that watch this waterhole camera at night, they'll probably tell you, wow, we saw one last night, we saw two, we saw three. Troy, so you've asked, does poaching not place more value on the rhino horns? It's a tricky thing to say. Again, I feel like I'm not qualified to be answering some of these questions, so please don't quote me on all of this stuff. Just the demand is so high for rhino horn. You won't believe how it is used as a medicinal property. Like in certain countries, it's crazy, and sometimes it's even just a wealth status. They don't care that, and maybe don't believe that it does anything to you, but they just kind of drink it just to show how connected and how wealthy they are, that they're able to obtain something like rhino horn, which is a little bit on the tricky side to kind of get. So yeah, I mean, there's lots of different things. People are trying all sorts of ways to protect the animals. Big push for wanting to legalize the international trade of rhino horn and all this. Again, I'm not qualified to comment on all of these things. But yeah, so I don't know. I don't know, Troy. It's a tricky one. I just think we should be showing rhinos and talking about them, inspiring more people, younger generations, even older generations, and trying to change, the mindset. And, even trying to change a culture, right? It's a very, very, very difficult thing because well, like traditional medicines, sorry, have been used for what, thousands of years. So in their respective ways, right? So I don't know. I don't know how you change that other than through education and constant exposure. But anyways, we won't dwell on the negatives. I get very sad because I've seen a huge knock in the populations of rhino, even just since when I've been guiding in the Sabi Sand, and it's devastating. So Justin, I don't know what the odds are, but I think come and check it out at night. Look at that springbuck basically going for a swim. And I think of really strange things all the time. I'm probably not normal, but right now I'm looking at the springbuck that's in the water, and I'm like, this is great. You're swimming, just having a great time. It's nice and hot. You're cooling yourself off. You can have a drink at the same time. I wonder how many other antelopes, gazelles are out there that have never had the opportunity to swim before because they were so terrified of their lives, and they don't even know what they're missing out on. Anyways, that's just what's going on in my mind right now. I don't know why that kind of just popped up, but I thought, gosh, imagine. And lots of animals, of course, find themselves in water, whether it's because they have to cross river systems, floods, they're trying to flee to safety, whatever the case may be. Oh my goodness, Big Flea. You said that you're from the USA and that you said this show is very cool, but it's almost 3 a.m. I think you should probably go to sleep. Definitely. We'll be here again tomorrow. Otherwise, you know what, Big Flea, you can do is that if you tune in a little bit later, in what's the time now? In like, wait, in like 4 hours' time, if you tune in, you can watch us on the Sunset Safari, and that'll probably be a more appropriate time to watch a show. So I hope that you are still on, but I'll be looking out and listening out for your questions this afternoon on the Sunset Safari. Stella, you said, do I think the different herds wait for one another to finish? I, I suppose the answer is yes and no, but let me explain. So, in a situation like this, right, this water hole is enormous. I don't actually know how long it is and how wide it is, but just from seeing how many impala, springbuck, wildebeest, gemsbok, even giraffe, and elephants can all fit around the water's edge, there's not that much competition going on. But if we go back and we have a look at a place like Jamala in Madikwe, where we always have all the elephants. We have such great sightings there. I mean, at all the cameras, we have such great sightings. There you see a lot more competition, and that's when you see animals kind of waiting their turn. So, what's going to decide when you're going to drink, right? Size does matter in the bush. So, if there's a big elephant or a herd of elephants coming through, best you believe you're going to have to get out of their way, right? Or they're going to shoo their trunk in your direction, or maybe even trumpet and charge you to try and actually get you to move. So everybody makes way for the elephants and they come through. And if there's 150 of them all drinking around the water's edge, then there's probably not going to be much else drinking from the water at that same time. But if there is space, then yes, lots of different animals will come through and drink. But we also see it with elephants. A herd or two is down drinking, there might be another herd lingering in the distance, waiting their turn. So that's why I said the answer is kind of yes and no. You just have to look at each situation as an individual and then kind of determine. So we can do that, Stella. So I hope you keep watching because I'm sure at some point we're going to end up at Jamala, and that's the perfect place to kind of to explain it and to visually see what I'm talking about. Oh my goodness, I was just about to tell you all we're gonna go somewhere else, but look, an elephant has arrived. Here we go. Oh no, all the springbuck have gone. Sure, I'm gonna miss them. Anyways, this is a rather large elephant, and the desert elephants of Namibia are known to reach exceptional sizes. Oh, there's a second one. This is riveting stuff on a Saturday. How cool. I haven't seen an elephant here for ages, but of course, I'm not glued to my screen and watching the camera all the time. But while I've been hosting live at the Waterhole, we've just had smaller mammal species. So I'm happy to have elephants come and join us. And of course, what is an elephant from Etosha if it's not covered in white dust? Look how big this fella is on the right. He's huge. Wow, even just from this camera, he is enormous. These bulls are much bigger than the bulls that we've been seeing at Madikwe. I've been talking about how I've yet to see an individual that has really impressed me. And again, I'm looking at a camera, and yes, I completely understand that it distorts my view and perception of how large the animal is. But I'm not just looking at like height and stuff like that. I'm looking at its body in proportion, and I'm looking at things around it that I know what their size could, could potentially be. And that elephant on the right is huge. Yeah, and it's really great to have these close-up views of the wildlife. There's a stream of gemsbok making their way down too, not too many of them, just a couple. And maybe we'll be lucky if the elephants will go in and have a splash around. But first, we're just wetting their taste buds. And when it's 37 degrees Celsius, you can imagine how thirsty both of these elephants must be. Oh, and then Lenny, you actually just said that you think Okokuya is so much better when it's zoomed in. You're 100% right. I completely agree. You can actually see so much detail. It's quite scary how when it's zoomed out, how all the animals that are moving from the tree line towards the water or vice versa just look like little ants. And then Bundu Basha, you've given me some information. You says that you said that's great English. I'll be doing English tutoring after this if anyone would like my number. And I'm just joking. Bundu Basha, you said that the water hole at Okokuya is about 40 meters wide by 60 meters in length. That's a substantial amount of time. Not time. What's wrong with me? That's big. There we go. That's what I'm trying to say. That is big. I'd be exhausted just swimming from one end to the other. Look how graceful these elephants are being. They're not even creating very many ripples. It's such a different scene from what we're used to seeing with the chaos that erupts at Gari Dam when the elephants are in it, at Jamala, or even at Old Donyo. Bushy tail, great question from you. You've said, when there are multiple bulls, how do you tell which one is the dominant one? So the more dominant elephant bull will be the one that doesn't care about the commotion that's going on with the other bulls. It's really funny to see, and I know that sounds ridiculous, and there's probably be a few people who have raised their eyebrows. However, if you've ever been in a situation where you have had a number of different bulls around, and you'll get a couple of individuals that are, you can only guess that they're well into their 40s, probably in their early 50s, maybe even a bit older than that. They don't care. They're not interested in pushing and shoving one another to prove to anyone else or even to themselves that they're the biggest and the strongest. It's like they've got their ego in check, if that makes sense. Whereas the younger individuals, the younger bulls, for the most part, when it's not a serious fight, that's something really important to remember. You'll see them, they're all standing there. It's like the equivalent of flexing their muscles and airboxing and just trying to show off, like, look how fit and strong I am. I'm taller than you, or whatever the case may be. Big, mature elephant bulls are not interested in doing that. So it always makes me chuckle. So you'll just see them walking, and then you'll see like the little groupie elephants following them going, wait for us. That's what they talk about with big bulls and their askaris, the youngsters that kind of tail, well, not quite tail, but trail along. And it's really great to see, though. Oh my goodness, look at the Egyptian geese going so close to the elephants. I wonder if we're able to zoom in between this elephant's legs on the left. And I think they're going close to that elephant for the shade. So we saw it. When did we see it? Must have been last week. And I don't know if it was Monday, if it was Tuesday. We had a similar thing. The Egyptian goose went up to the gemsbok. And the gemsbok all ran away because they were like, what is going on? But this is so bizarre. And I thought maybe it's because the hemspook or anything is they're defecating. This is crazy. They might want to, feast upon the feces. But now I think that they are chasing the shade. This is dangerous for these little ones. If they don't move out of the way quick enough, if the elephant were to just move forward or move back, they could end up getting squashed. Not that I think that this elephant is going to do it maliciously. He's just that big, and maybe he's not aware of what's going on underneath him. Look at this. I've never seen this before. This is crazy. I have to take a video because otherwise no one will believe me. Oh no, come back. I missed it. No, I hope you all got some cool screenshots, or someone else thought, wow, this is crazy, and stood in front of the TV and took a video. I missed that whole thing. That's one of the most bizarre things that I've seen, but also so clever. Oh, wait, maybe the others are going to come back. But the goslings have got so big. I wish you could also. Oh, there's the adult. Yes. Now, young geese, goslings, go underneath the elephant again. There they go. These geese are so close they could inspect this elephant's toenails. Ah, that's brilliant. Okokuyo, thank you. Thank you for that, just that moment of happiness there. That was spectacular. Ha! Fascinating behavior, right? Oh, there we go. Tadiwa, who's directing, has also seen screenshots. Oh, how fantastic. I definitely think a little clip of this needs to be cut for Instagram, maybe a reel. I'm just putting it out there. My creative juices are flowing. But if the WildEarth social media team is listening, that was epic. That needs to be a moment that people can look back on. Jive funny. Thank you so much. You've just said that I was driving in the rain this morning, and now I'm looking after you all here again. I love it. Literally, this moment of the Egyptian geese goslings going underneath the elephant is like my new favorite, my best sighting that I've had all year. Someone's probably going to say, "No, Taylor, what about this?" But 100%, that was epic. Wow. I'm dare I say that I just watched my own video again. I'm a little bit sad. Anyways, there was someone who was trying to ask me, who was asking me to guess how old. Oh, there we go. Wally, you've said, would I please guess the age of the elephant on the right? So the right one is the one I said I think is big. Now, I would like him to turn his head towards us. I just want to see the depressions close to his temples, because you normally see that that part of their head tends to be quite sunken in as they age. I don't know though. I can't see a lot of detail. He's missing the hair on the tip of his tail. That tells the story. That's sad. You'd have to have a bushy tail to help swat those flies. But anyways, I'm gonna guess that he's probably in his 50s, somewhere around there, late 40s, entering his 50s. Easy, maybe even a bit older. But it's hard to guess. And then Layla S, you've said that the waterhole is your favorite because you never know what's going to come next. You're quite right. It's the same thing like when we're driving around out on safari. You just never know. Just the craziest things happen. I mean, look at Jamie come around the corner and having to slam on brakes. African land snails mating. Riveting stuff. And I do that all the time. I feel sorry for whoever's on camera with me when I'm in the vehicles because I don't drive very fast. I meander. And then I slam on brakes though. Put the vehicle in reverse, stop. Oh, an insect. Or I get out and I look and I'm like, "Ah, it's just a leaf." Then get back in the car again. And I must do that about 100 times. I must drive them insane.
The world is celebrating Trivia Day, and WildEarth wants to share little trinkets of knowledge with you.
Poison is something, if you ingest, will kill you. Venom has to be injected.
Come along for a hilarious day and be entertained with our team trivia. Our expert naturalists across locations will pair up and compete in wildlife trivia in a battle to be the smarty pants of the safari. Don't miss out on the action. WildEarth, it's in your nature.
So just looking at these elephants, look how they dwarf this waterhole. They're both huge. Just everything about them is big. Big heads, big ears, big trunk, big feet, big body. And that's it. Those are the only things that are big about an elephant. Young elephants, big egos, though, as we've discussed. Oh, Pam, you said, what is the strangest behavior that I've ever seen from animals because of either extreme heat or cold? I'm trying to think strange, sort of out of the ordinary. Off the top of my head, I can't see anything. Oh, think of anything. I don't know, Pam. Is there something that you've maybe seen before? If you have, let me know. Maybe it will tickle my brain. If anybody else has seen any animals behaving strangely or out of the ordinary because of heat and rain. I mean, I've seen a lot of dehydrated animals that look like they've got kind of like heat stroke. They're just exhausted, like super dehydrated, just not being able to move. But that's definitely not out of the ordinary. What I found when I was with eco training in Mashatu, because it got so hot now at this time of the year and all the way into February. But, every day is 38, 39, 41, 42 degrees Celsius. There was there is no, they don't have that camp anymore. It's a different camp. There was a tap that we would use to fill I suppose people used to fill their water bottles up, etc. Anyways, and the birds would sit on that tap and underneath it, and you could literally walk right up to it. They would not fly away. They'd be right at your feet, and you could put it on for them. And then they would bath in it and drink it. So I suppose that was unusual, driving them to become like complacent with us. It almost appeared like they were tame, but we're not feeding them or anything. And it's not like you could stick your hand out and have a Cinderella moment where one would fly and land on it. And you definitely not grab them. But for that moment around the tap, they knew that if they sat there, we as humans would come and we turned the water on for them and they got like their reward. Well, you couldn't do it anywhere else. So maybe that's out of the ordinary. Otherwise, I can't think of anything, but I'll keep thinking. Bill, you're wondering why don't these two elephants have tufts of hair on their tails? So the one on the left has got a little bit more hair than the one on the right. This could just come from age, wear and tear. I mean, something as simple as consistently rubbing up against a tree or a rock or something along those lines, which elephants do a lot. They get very itchy backsides. And we know that they love to have a good old scratch. Who doesn't? So my hair is really tough. It feels like plastic, like long strands of plastic. It's obviously not plastic. And so it doesn't break super easily. The smaller hairs do. But still, just constant wear and tear. Let's have a look. We're going right up. So, oh, shame. And then you have the complete opposite. Then you have some, look at that sad strand of hair on the right. Oh, bless you. Yes, that's going to work. That one's holding on for dear life. But then you get the complete opposite, where you have some elephants that have the most luscious, long tail hair. Almost looks like my ponytail that's dangling off of my head. So yeah, but I suppose like with a lot of things, when you tend to age, your hair does get finer and finer. That would be my guess. Covered in mud though. All that white dust, sorry, not mud, not necessarily mud. Pam, the hamster in my brain is still running around though, trying to think of other strange, unusual behaviors that I've seen. But I really cannot think of anything. Let me check YouTube. Maybe someone has commented on YouTube. I don't know if anybody else is feeling like this, but I definitely was mesmerized by that elephant's tail, and it was like there was a what do you call those people that try to? What's wrong with my brain? Why can't I think of the words? Please tell me other people have this. We've spoken about something your entire life, and then hypnotized. A hypnotist. There we go. Goodness gracious. Digging through these filing cabinets is taking a lot longer. It's actually concerning. Anyways, it was like when a hypnotist, well, not that I've ever been hypnotized, who knows, maybe I am now, swings his clock in front of your face. And I was watching that tail left and right, and then had to snap out of it for a second because I saw a message pop up on my phone. Obviously, I have my phone open because I talk to the directors like that. They send me all of the questions, and then that's how I kind of get them. And I went, oh, Taylor, snap out of it. You've got a job to do, show to host. And to be fair, the animals do all the work. I just sit here and talk absolute nonsense. And I'm now sad that the Egyptian geese have not come back. But at one point, the elephant bull on the left-hand side did swish his trunk out to the goslings as they tried to come too close to him. So if you want to get the shade of an elephant, you need to approach from behind. So I've learned something new today. Dr. Genius, you said, what would happen if Asian elephants met with African elephants? Whew. Well, they're either going to have to swim across an ocean or jump on a plane to meet one another because they don't occur in the same area. So the chances of the two species of elephants meeting naturally is highly unlikely. But that could happen in a captive environment, and I have no idea what would happen. I suppose they would just go, oh, hey, elephants, they look a bit strange. And then the other elephants would go, oh, hey, elephants, they look a bit strange. And they both sound different. I mean, there are quite a number of physical differences between the Asian and the African elephants, but even with the ways that they communicate, they're not identical. And perhaps they'd be a little bit, again, if it's in a captive environment, maybe they'd be more, what's the word that I'm looking for? Receptive. Whereas I think if it was elephants in the wild, I think that would be a different story. I don't think they'd be quite happy with one another. Crows, keep quiet. We know you're there, wreaking havoc, but we're trying to watch your elephants and we're having a very serious discussion. about what would happen between Asian elephant and African elephants if they met. It'd be quite cool to see. But I don't know, maybe that's already happened, like you said, in a zoo or safari park or something along those lines. But Dr. Genius, I have no idea. So, Nala, you've asked, do elephants get joint issues, like, for example, like arthritis? Yes. So they can, something called osteoarthritis, I suppose is the more technical term for it, and it can most certainly affect elephants. I mean, essentially, what happens with arthritis is just, cartilage degradation, so it just starts wearing away, and and animals that are really really large that are constantly moving long distances, absolutely. However, it's not something that I've necessarily seen or heard of in wild environments, but you'd probably find that with older individuals, and it would just get classified obviously as like natural deaths, and they'd have all these other things wrong with them. But I'm going to ask Jamie if she knows, like, of anyone where they've seen elephants and they've had these issues, but in a captive environment, most certainly. And it's very, very sad, unfortunately, as because they're not able to move around as much as they should, and that there's a necessary amount of pressure on all their limbs. And what you find with rhinos and elephants in captivity, they end up having a problem of being able to walk because their feet aren't developing the way that they should. I missed a great opportunity. Diane from the UK, very funny. You said that if an Asian and an African elephant were to meet, they'd have a language barrier, language difficulty. 100% right. They trumpet in different languages, even. Oh, that's funny. I can't believe I didn't even think of that. I'm quite embarrassed, to be perfectly honest. Sounds like someone's opening a bag of crisps near the waterhole. Come on, what flavor are they? Share them. Pass that packet around. Where did all the geese go now? I've been looking for them. Can we have a look at this bird that's kind of in the middle of the waterhole, but at the edge closest to the camera? Is it a goose? It's probably a goose. Is it a crow? I don't know. Ella, you've commented on the calmness of these elephants, and you're comparing them to a lot of the other elephants that we see. You're not wrong. So we've had some interesting conversations, just about elephant bulls and their maturity and that type of thing. And I was saying that the older an elephant bull gets, the less of an ego he has, or his ego doesn't fuel what he does and whatever. So they're just a lot more relaxed, blasé. They don't really care about anything else that's going around them, except if it directly affects them. So for these two bulls that we saw, I mean, they obviously acknowledge one another. They've probably met before and social with one another. Otherwise, they wouldn't have stood closely like that. But they weren't too perturbed. But no permanent bonding. It was just like, oh, hey, Frank, how's it going? It's nice to see you again. What's happening on the West? Oh, it's good. Browsing's a bit tough. Yeah, Bethany's still, and the kids are still mad they've left again. I don't know. Like, they have a conversation and then kind of off they go. But there's no pushing and shoving, none of that tussling that we see. And again, we see a lot here in the Sabi Sand, but because we spend so much time at Jamala, that's where we see it a lot. But again, it's also because the waterhole's not as big. Everybody wants to drink from the pipe of water that pumps the water into the waterhole itself. So they're all arguing over that kind of small space. So at a place like this, it's nice. It's so peaceful. I mean, they were so relaxed that the Egyptian goose, I don't know, Ella, if you were watching, if you've only just jumped on now, there was a bunch of Egyptian goose goslings with adults, and the goslings swam underneath the belly of one of the elephants to try and use its shade to keep cool, which I thought was spectacular. It didn't care at all that they were there. Only towards the end, when they came back from the front, he was just like, "No, go away. I'm not interested in being your umbrella." Lenny, you've asked if there are buffalo here in Otosha. No, there aren't. And from my understanding, from articles that I've read, it's been since the 1950s that buffalo have not been resident in this specific region. Again, buffalo are bulk grazers. They eat a lot of grass and they need to eat it all the time. And as you can see, there's next to no grazing, especially during the drier months when there's no rain. Now, obviously, when rainy season starts, and it has commenced, and there is some growth, and some areas you will find that there will be grazing, but there's not enough to sustain big herds of buffalo. So naturally, like how all animals migrate when they aren't restricted with barriers of various kinds, you can use your imagination, and we know humans have been the biggest issue with creating barriers for wild animals to move freely. They would have just gone and found a more suitable area. And Botswana is not too far away. That's perfect. Opportunities for them to move into any other country, really. So not for a very long time. There might be other reasons. I don't know if they were hunted extensively too, but for me, I'm just looking and I'm going, "Phew, food is scarce." And if I was a bulk grazer, I don't think I'd be having a really good time. I'd be hangry. Well, you just look at how often these animals have to move around, right? They do the same thing every single day. There's so little water around. And if you're able to, you can pull up a map of Etosha and you can see the prominent pans. And obviously, the animals are going to prefer something like this, right? Where there's fresher water, natural spring water. They're not going to really want to drink. Well, I suppose they will drink brackish water, right? But an area like this that's being topped up is great. So buffalo have to drink on a daily basis, and at times of the year like this, where it's say 37 degrees Celsius today, if they were here in South Africa, they'd be drinking twice a day, if the opportunity allowed them. So that would be another thing to factor in. So now you've got to put two and two, right? Maybe you found suitable grazing, great, but it's so far away from the nearest water. So realistically, moving up and down like that, they're not going to want to stay there. It's just going to make life increasingly difficult for them.
Fancy playing safari snaps? Or showing off your photo skills in fun competitions? How about sneak peeks of our brand new camera spots and live chats with fellow Africam fans. Well, Africam All Access has got your back. Just head to Africam's YouTube channel, hit the join button, and select Africam All Access. You'll unlock Africam premium website perks and all the VIP benefits of our YouTube memberships.
Couple of nervous Nelly kudus coming down to have a drink, and just this elephant bull's not going anywhere. I think he's going to spend most of the day here. Right, well, it's 1 p.m. in South Africa, and if you know, you know, but if you don't, I'll tell you anyways. It's time to introduce Africam, who WildEarth is partnered with, and allows us a closer look at some other water holes. which we'll find out what they are in just a little bit.